Hello guys, I am Derek Chris, and today I want to do a breakdown of 3-point lighting system on a budget. Like I always say in my videos, I'm not a professional. Nobody in this industry is a professional. We all say we are learning. So if you feel that there are better ways of doing things that I point in this video or any of my other videos, you can drop your thoughts in the comments below. When we say on a budget, we don't necessarily mean no budget at all. Filmmaking is not that simple. We still require a little amount of money to get things going, but we don't necessarily need to kill ourselves to replicate a lot of these Hollywood effects. We can actually do these things on little budget. We can replicate a lot of Hollywood effects on little budgets. But why do they buy all this expensive gear? Well, for one, it's easier to set up and it looks professional, and it's actually better in some ways, but to a normal audience, it's not noticeable. So yeah, we can replicate a lot of these things with little budgets. So what exactly is 3-point lighting system? Well, 3-point lighting is lighting from 3 different sources, or 3 different points as the name suggests, and they don't actually have to be light sources, actual artificial light sources or studio light sources. You can use natural light, you can use bounce balls, reflectors, anything that reflects light or that emits light. Then for the artificial light sources, you can use studio lights, you can use your phone touch light, you can use household bulbs, depending on how you rig it. You can use anything that emits light and doesn't kill people. Yeah. All right, in cinematography, we actually depend a lot on terminologies. We use terminologies a lot because it is, for one, it is cool, and it actually conveys the message way better than, imagine I want to tell somebody to set up light now, and I'm like, put that thing on top that thing, on top that thing. You don't know the actual names, so terminologies are required, like set up your C-stand and put the flags. So we use these terminologies a lot. In this my video, I'm going to try to explain things in a layman's language, but at the same time use proper terminology to the best of my knowledge. All right, now, so let's get into 3-point lighting system. All right, guys, so this is our subject. Say hi. Hi. Yeah, you cannot really see her now because it's dark here. This is the way I like to light my scenes. I start it with complete darkness. So whenever I'm lighting a scene, I always envision a 360 sphere around the subject, or a 360 circle around the subject, with the subject being at the middle. And so 3-point lighting system, what exactly is it? Let us set up our key light. For you to do a 3-point lighting system, you need a key light, you need a fill light, and you need a backlight. So let me have my assistant set up the key light. All right, now, so we have our key light on our subject's face. So this is our key light, should be the major source of light. So, and it should come from a motivated source. For example, if there's a window by the side, that is where your key light should be placed. Or wherever your key light, wherever your motivation is. For example, you have a motivation from on top, like a ceiling light, your key light should come from the ceiling. So this is your main light, and this is our backlight. And so for what you can see here now, from what you can see, this is 2 light points. Our backlight, which is illuminating her here. What this backlight does is that it separates the subject from the foreground. So it separates you from the foreground. How does it do that? By giving you an outline, a halo around the subject's head, or around the subject's body, whatever the subject is, and it separates it from the background. Then our key light, which is this light source. And remember, we are doing this on a budget, so we just have a cheap light. I don't know if you can see this, a cheap light that did not really cost around 30-something thousand, 40-something thousand, I can't remember. But it's an LED 328A, I think that's the name. I will drop the links in the description. I've forgotten what the names are. But we put a softbox, a small softbox on this key light, and your key light should be diffused, or it can be hard light depending on what your story requires. So yeah, now you might be guessing, what else do we need? We have a key light, we have a backlight, and like we said, it must come from 3 sources. So 1, 2, where's the 3rd one? That's where fill light comes in. Fill light should be at the opposite side of your key lights. Why? Because it helps fill in the shadows that these key lights create. Now you might be asking, is this backlight not filling the shadows? Well, it is filling the shadows, but let me take it off and show you what fill light does and what backlight does. Hold on, let me set up a reflector. Like I said, your fill light does not necessarily have to be from a light source. That is, you can use another light here, sure, from this side. You can use another light, or you can use a reflector like we have here. This is a 120 cm reflector that you can bounce your key light from. So as you can see, this is without reflector, this is with reflector. Now what this reflector is doing is bouncing this key light down to the reflector and down to our face. So it's filling up the shadows in our face. That is why it's called a fill light, because it fills the shadows. Now if for your story you need this type of contrast between the key and the shadow side, no problem, you don't need a fill light. It's not necessary that you must add all 3 light sources. You can even take off your backlight and use only your key light, or you can just shoot it dark depending on what your story requires. So as a cinematographer, you should pay attention to what your story requires. So for now, please turn that key light off. Okay, so this is without our key lights, without our fill light, and without our backlight. So please turn it on again. Now we have our key light, we have our fill light, and we have our backlight. So this is the difference between fill light and backlight. Backlight illuminates the edges, while fill light fills in the shadow. See? Sure, you can use the backlight and key light to killing 2 birds with 1 stone. So you can use this as fill light and you can see this as backlight depending on what you want. But for now, let it be at the back to give that halo, and let this be opposite the key light to give that fill in the shadows that we require. So this is 3-point lighting system. All right, guys, there are some key things that you need to remember that I forgot to mention. Your key light should be at 45-degree angle. That's, like I said, imagine a circle around your subject. That is how I imagine it. It helps me visualize my lighting. Imagine a circle or a sphere, 360 sphere around your subject. Now dividing that circle into 2, which is 180-degree, then dividing it again, which will make it 90-degree, where those 2 lines intersect. This is a 90-degree angle, or let me do it this way. This is a 90-degree angle. This is a 90-degree angle. So now divide this 90-degree into 2, you have 45 degrees. So around here, now it does not have to be exactly 45 degrees. Around here, this will be 45 degrees, where your key light is and where this key light is. So, and it does not really have to be at 45 degrees always. You can go totally side. Please move to the side. Move again, this way. All right, it can be a side lighting like this. This is a 90-degree lighting or a side lighting, or it can be 45 degree. Come this way. So 45 degree, or it can be top lighting. Go on top. Let me turn my backlight off so I can see the effect. Like, move over this way. All right, it can be top lighting like this. So these are different directions of light. I will cover the directions of light in later videos so that you know where and how to place your light in actual films. So now it is one thing knowing 3-point lighting system, key, fill, and backlight, and it is another thing actually putting it into practice, like using it in your own film. So let me go and show you how to use it in a film.
It's done.
All right, guys, so this is an example of a natural light setup where we have our key light coming from this angle. We have our backlight, which I want to turn on now. So like I said, what backlight does is separates her from the background by giving her this halo around her, this edge. So now we have a 2-point backlight and the key light. So what do we need? We need a light. But remember when I said that it depends on your story, it depends on your taste, whether I should add fill light or not. And in this case, I do not want to add fill light because I feel my shadows are already too much. So instead, I want to use what they call a negative fill. That is the opposite of a fill. Fill is adding extra light to fill in the shadows. A negative fill is taking the extra light from the shadows. So I can do that with our trusty reflector. This side is reflective. This is a 5-in-1 reflector. This side is reflective. And this side, the dark part, which is the negative fill. So now watch what happens when I add a negative fill. This is when I take it off. And this is when I add a negative fill. So in this case, I like it like this because I like the contrast ratio between the light and dark. So this is an example. Now, how do I stand this? Okay, let me, please come, help me hold this. No, you can drop that. I just hold this here. I'll place this light here. All right, so now this is 3-point lighting. Our key light, fill, or negative fill, by the way, our backlight. So for our fill light, let me show you where we are getting our light source from. It's actually from a window. Hold on. So that window is our major source of light, which is our key light. Like I said, let your key light always be motivated from either a window or from top lighting or wherever you think the major source of light will come or the main source of light will come from. And that place should always be something that we see every day. We see that light comes from windows every day or from bulbs every day. So let your light, your key light be motivated from that angle. So that is it. Now we have an extra light here. Hold on, let me write my focus. We have an extra light here. Now I want to add this extra light to see how it will look. All right. Okay, let me go and turn that extra light on. Okay, now that is our key lights. So we have 2 key lights now. And let me look at it. Well, for me, I don't think that extra artificial light is necessary. So we can go with only daylight. So let me turn it off now. Okay, I like this one a bit. Okay, we can also turn off this backlight. So we don't necessarily need all 3 points of light, but they still call it 3-point lighting, I don't know. Or let me just call it 1-point lighting. So now we have our major light, which is the key light, coming from left of her, and we have our negative fill right of cam. So now guys, this is how you can use 3-point lighting system with natural lighting.